Hello everyone. Just began live streaming, waiting the last minute or so for people to join. Okay. So welcome everyone. There'll be another minute or so before I begin the live streaming class. It's a gentle Hatha yoga class, and you are gonna need a few props like 2 pillows, blanket, maybe a towel, a belt, a yoga mat. If you have a chair also, any form of chair would be really, really good for this evening's practice. Just want to remind you that the practices that we live stream, they're actually up on Hamza's Facebook page, and they'll remain there probably until the 10th of May. So it's possible for you to return and redo the class. I know that some of you have done that already. But also if you don't have the time now and you just spend a few minutes, checking in, just pick another time where you want to set aside about an hour and 40 minutes or an hour and a half for yourself, and then dive deep into these practices. So they'll be there up until about the 10th of May. And then after the 10th of May, we'll see if they will move from Facebook onto a YouTube page that I'm creating. Actually, my nephew is creating for me. Because honestly, I don't really create anything electronically. I'm really bad with stuff like that. Good. So I think it is 7. So welcome everyone. I want you to pause for a moment, and this is probably one of the most familiar gestures to most of us practicing yoga, and even to some people who doesn't practice yoga. They've seen this, but we place the palms together and we go namaste. So it's a form of a greeting or a welcoming. So place your palms together, namaste. But I just want to break down that for us or for you for a moment and explain the, probably not so much the practice or the culture, because we'll leave that to some of my friends from India, whatever, since it's kind of part of their heritage, but more linguistically, which is my background. I'm from a comparative grammatic and Indo-European language studies of ancient Greek, Latin, and Vedic Sanskrit, and ancient Germanic languages also. But since it wasn't my favor, I'm not really that good at it. So the word namaste, it's from a root verb called nam. And the root verb nam means something like to bend a material. It means to turn towards someone, often like aiming, like turning an arrow or a spear or some form of intention, to turn. It means to yield or give yourself over to someone. It means to keep quiet. So nam also means something like keep quiet. It means to subject yourself, so somehow in service. And then lastly, and it's actually pretty low down on the list of what the Sanskrit verb nam means, it's to bow, to honor. In Sanskrit, you have a root verb, and then if you want to say something like, it could be vad, which means to speak. Vadami means to speak or I speak, and so namati means I bow, or I bend, or I turn towards, or I keep silent, or I yield or give way for someone, or I keep quiet. The te means to you or for you. So you could say that, I'm not going to go into, because then it's a matter of interpretation. Just want to give you that namas and then te is not namaste. The word is broken up in namaz and then te. So namaste. It could be something like, I mean, I find it really cool for yoga because we often bend material. So namaste, I bend for you. Namaste, I turn towards you. Namaste, I yield or give way for you. Namaste, I keep quiet. Namaste, I subject myself to you. Namaste, I bow to you. So take a moment and just sit with that. I mean, you can always return to that and do notes and stuff. For now, it's just kind of like sitting with the multifaceted meaning of that word. Namaste. If you want to hit some comments on the page, any questions or whatever, I might be able to live to follow that here. I thought that the beginning of the class could be maybe a little bit more like educational, I don't know. I just heard from some of you guys that you kind of really appreciate that. I mean, on a regular basis, I don't really get to use a lot of my background or my schooling or my knowledge so much. So, I mean, but I'm here, so if you want to tap into that, feel free to do that. Good. So apart from that, I also want to begin this evening's practice by chanting a mantra. And it's the Jyota Sujyota Jagao. I'm not posting the text here now. Just sing along or hum along, or even just sit for a moment and endure this this little mini concert. Okay. Jyota se Jyota Jagao, Satguru Jyota se Jyota Jagao, Nirantara Timirammitao, Satguru Jyota se Jyota Jagao. He Yogeshvara, He Gyanesvara, He Yogeshvara, He Gyanesvara, He Sarveshvara, He Parameshvara, He Sarveshvara, He Parameshvara, Nitya Kripa Varasao, Satguru Jyota se Jyota Jagao, Nirantara Timirammitao, Satguru Jyota se Jyota Jagao. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And then you can make your way onto your back. So just lie down, stretch out, cover up if there's a bit chill in the room. And as you lie down on the back, I just want to again go into, something else that this class is about. The beginning of the class, breaking down a little bit about the word namaste or namaste, and then as you lie down now, take a moment to just settle in with the breath. Close your eyes. And so one of the things that can be happening this spring is that most of us here in Scandinavia, we do spend a tremendous amount of energy or power to build a very solid, sustaining and robust energy throughout winter. Biking in that ice cold rain, or just kind of generally the lack of light and the pretty toughness of the weather, is that we pull forth a particular form of energy that is really thick and nourishing and really helps us pull through the winter. And this energy, we can call it Hatha. It also really helps us build tissue. It really helps protect the tissue. What then happens as spring hits and we have these like more sunny days is that as the sun hits the body or the system, and also that we change rhythm a bit, we start to do different types of stuff. And particularly the sun will melt this thick energy. And as the thick, nourishing, dense, solid energy of Hatha is being melted, it kind of flows out into the systems of the body, the systems of the mind, the emotional body. And as it flows out, as spring melts it and flows out into the system, it can kind of create a little bit of insulation or blocking or a sense of feeling heavy. So some of the heaviness that you might feel, it actually doesn't necessarily have to be because of, the lockdown or the quarantine or, comfort eating a lot at home. It might simply be one of the processes of shifting from the energy of winter to spring. And as that happens, the sun of spring will melt the heavy energy and let it flow out. So as you lie down on the back, one thing that I want you to do as you breathe is that imagine you create some movement with the breath. Inhaling and exhaling, allowing the breath to circulate out into the body, breathing into the fingertips, into the toes. The heavy, dense, nourishing energy of winter that the spring sun is melting and then it overflows into the body can have a wet or sliming or cold quality. So I want you to breathe into the body with the sense that the breath is like holding some spring wind that can dry up the body. Not the places in the body that is already dry, but like breathing in the way that you feel the breath can clear the lungs a bit from mucuses. Breathe in the way where you feel the breath can move the slime of the belly. Breathe in a way that you feel the breath can move the energy of the limbs, the arms, the legs. If you experience one place that seems particularly slimy or a little fluid has retained, then just breathe into that area with the breath having a sense of like moving energy, bringing sunlight, drying out the area slightly. It's like you open the doors and the windows of a house. Another quality of the breath that I want you to embody is that the breath can break things apart, can lift up the dust. One thing that is so typical of Hatha is that it's very cohesive. It binds a lot. It's like a glue. So breathe in the way it just kind of breaks things apart a bit. Breathe in a way that you feel shit is being moved. And then really cherish those qualities of the breath. So you're still lying down or maybe just arriving now and you can do it seated. very gently bend your knees, roll to the side, and just make your way up into seated. Keep reminding yourself of those qualities of the breath, of movement, of circulation, of drying slightly, of moving light, of dissolving or breaking things apart. And then interlace the fingers in front of your heart. As you exhale, push the hands forward and move the spine back. As you inhale, draw the heart up, lift your hands. As you exhale, press the palms up. Remember those qualities of the breath. Inhale, and as you exhale, a little cat pose. Inhale, ground down, exhale. One more time, inhale, and exhale. Good. Release the hands, inhale, stretch your arms to the sky. And just exhale and twist to the left, bring your arms down. Inhale, stretch to the sky. Exhale, twist to the right. Okay. Just find the dynamics of that. Inhaling, stretching your arms up. Exhale and turn. Just keep that going. And remember the qualities of the breath as creating movement, circulation, drying up a bit of the slime, moving the mucuses of the lungs and the belly, causing dissolving qualities to the glue of the body, being light and letting the breath help shift things. And then the next time you inhale, stretch up. You exhale and twist to the left. And you just keep that twist for a moment. And as you close your eyes, remember the beginning. Recall the meaning of namaste, to turn towards. Namaste, to keep quiet. Namaste, to yield or to give way. Inhale back to center, stretch your arms up. Exhale, turn to the right and hold that. Stay with the quality of the breath. Recall the layers of meaning to the word namaste. Yielding, turning, quiet. I'm getting a message from Melina that there's no sound. That's pretty bad. Could someone else, the rest of you, could you let me know if sound and picture is fine? I'll just go and see what could I have done. Turn to the front. I am not the most, actually I'm a very untechnical person. No problem with sound nor image. Okay, thank you, Andrea. Melina, I'm not sure, maybe on your phone, do you need to press the icon that has a speaker with a cross over it? Now shift to all fours. As you come onto all fours, place your hands and feet hip distance, or your knees and feet hip distance apart, your hands chest width apart. And then inhale, arch your back, and exhale and round. So cat-cow up and down a few times. Inhale and exhale. And as you inhale and exhale, I want you to recall the meaning of the word namaste, which means to bend material. So namaste your spine, bending up and down. Inhale, arching, exhale, rounding. Okay, for those of you who want a little bit more warmth or circulation or movement, and it's in the service of clearing out the dense energy, tuck the toes under, and as you exhale into cat pose, lift your knees a little bit also. Inhale, drop the knees into a cow, and exhale, round and lift. Do that a few more times. Inhale, drop the knees, cow. Exhale, round. Bend the spine. Very good. And then return to neutral. We're going to do Pavanamuktasana on all fours. So on all fours, inhale, take the right leg back, just horizontal. And then exhale, hug the knee to the forehead, forehead to the knee. Inhale, extend your right leg back. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale, extend back. Exhale, hug it in. Close your eyes. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hug it in. Stay with the quality of movement, circulation, moving the wind so it can dry up the slimy energy. Inhale, dissolving. Exhaling, a light sunshine energy that can move through the system and shift shit. Inhale, right leg back, heart forward. Exhale, hug it in. Next time you inhale, take the right leg back. And then exhale, drop the foot down. Turn the back heel in and down. Spin the bottom foot out. And then lift your arm to the sky. And exhale, stretch your arm overhead. And just pause here for a moment. Take your time. Keep the breath moving. And remember the quality of the breath, that it can bring movement, circulation, a slightly drying quality to the slimy or mucousy area, a sense of dissolving blockages or the heavy, dense, cohesive energy. Just allow things to be lifted and shifted. Exhale back to center. Good. And then tuck the toes under, and we'll do a little bit of a power dog. This is a shout out to Barbara. I really like her version of it, where you kind of bend the knees and lift up. And then you imagine like a dog that's like pouncing or, you know, ready to run. And you just kind of bend the knees and move a bit. There's a bit more weight forward into the arms. The neck is long and clear. The sides of the throat is long and clear. Good. And then as you exhale, lower down, big toes together, knees apart. And then keep the front body long as you settle down into a child's pose. Inhaling, exhale, and drop the forehead towards the ground. You can use a pillow or create versions of child's pose that fit you right now. As you come into a child's pose, close your eyes and reflect back on the exposition or explanation of the root verb nam. I bend. I turn towards, I yield or give way, I keep quiet, I subject myself to the practice, I bow. Namaste, namaste. And really let the child's pose reverberate with the deep meaning of the words or the matrika of the words, the power of the words. And also focus on the breath. Keep the breath moving about, creating a sense of movement, circulation, drying up slimy places, bringing sunlight into the body, dissolving things that stick, just making a sense of a light shift in the body. And then shift up onto all fours. We'll do that on the other side, this time on the left leg. Are you still with me at home? It's actually interesting we're going to teach a gentle Hatha yoga class today, because I'm also like, how fun is it going to be watching a very quiet room? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let me know. All fours. Left leg back, inhaling, and exhale, draw that in. This can really help clear the mucus, so inhale, help drive the energy down, exhale. Just continue in your own rhythm, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Move the breath so it creates movement, circulation. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, extend the leg back. And as you exhale, drop the left foot to the ground. Turn the heel in and down. Spin the bottom foot out to the side. And then turn the pose open sideways. Breathe in a way that feels like it's creating movement, circulation, helping you dry up areas that seem slimy or stuck. Helps dissolve blockages, and breathing into all corners of your being. The breath is really powerful for the practice today. The spring sun has already dissolved the thick, dense energy that is necessary for winter. But it flows out into the body and the mind, and not to be stuck there. I had Sarah from the US writing me that she's sitting down a lot, maybe feeling a bit stiff or cohescent or heavy. So it's really about, through stretching and through breathing, bring some movement into the system. Clear that energy. Exhale, release back out of the pose. And then back to center and power dog one more time. Bend the knees, push back up. And just kind of breathe, move the hips a bit. Shift the arms a little bit more forward. Good. And then prepare for your child's pose. Drop the knees, big toes together. Keep the front part of the body long first. Inhale, exhale, and bow. As you bow into child's pose, again, contemplate, or let the meaning of the words shower upon you. Namaste. To bend. The verb means to bend. To turn towards. To yield or give way. To keep quiet. I like that. Namaste. Quiet to you. To subject oneself and to bow. Rest and relax in child's pose. And see if there's a way that the meaning of the words can help settle into the body and help reveal to body and mind some of the mysteries that is the child's pose. Andre. That's so cool. I hope you are at home practicing some yoga. Okay. And then inhale, lift back up onto all fours. And then step all the way forward up into a standing pose at the forefront of the yoga mat. I noticed the other day that as I was standing up, the top of my head was disappearing from the video. So I'm kind of like staying seated like this, but you are gonna stand up. As you come to a standing pose, just relax the gaze. You're not necessarily busy looking at anything, just kind of feel the room around you and then feel your feet on the ground. Give a bit of a bend to the knees, a little bit of pulsing or bobbing the body up and down. If that just helps you arrive more perfectly in your standing pose. Then just curve the spine by dropping the front body forward. And kind of notice that you actually grow a little shorter when you do that. And then the other way, try to tuck the tailbone and roll forward. That kind of compresses you a bit also. Now come to the center, a little bit of a lower back curve and a bit of fullness to the chest. And then imagine a way that even though the spine is curving, it's elongating. And then drive your energy from the pelvis down into the earth and let the feet push into the earth for Tadasana, mountain pose. And then inhale, sweep your arms to the sky. And just kind of push your arms up and a little out to the side to begin with. Good. And then grab with your right hand on the left lower arm, not necessarily the wrist. And then again, push your left arm a little bit up and over to the left. Push the left side of the body longer. Then exhale, side bend to the right. Keeping the curves of the spine that elongates the spine. Keep the grounding of the energy down into the earth. And then really lift and push up and sideways. Keep breathing in a sense that helps create movement, circulation, that dries up the slimy areas. Good. And then inhale back to center, exhale, hands together in front of your heart. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Catch with your left hand on the right. Start by pushing up and over to the right. Just kind of really let that right side stretch long. And then exhale, take it into side bending. Keep the curves of the spine so it can elongate. Keep the grounding of the pelvis down. And then breathe in a way that shifts and moves the dense, cohesive, slimy, stable energy of Hatha. The spring sun has already melted the energy, so now it's out in the system and needs to be passed on even more so it doesn't get stuck. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands together in front of chest and heart. Relax your arms down the sides of the body and just breathe for a moment. And then you're going to step the feet hip distance apart or a little bit more than hip distance apart. If you find forward bending a little challenging, that's when you're going to bring in a chair. I have a chair here with a pillow on it. Good. So feet hip distance apart. We're going to think mostly about elongating. So bring your hands to the chair and bow forward until you feel that your spine is almost like somewhat horizontal. And then on the back of the chair, you can lean your arms. And then like you did it just a moment ago, kind of stretch one arm out and then cross it over. Good, and the other one, stretch it out to the side and then cross it over. Good, and then stretching both arms forward as you really elongate the hips back. You can bend the knees slightly. Just think about getting longer and longer and longer. Good. And hands on hips. Inhale, rise up out of that. If there's any way you can find something to hold onto at home, kind of a window or a heater or whatever, a column who has a column in their house? I mean, Jesus Christ. But anyways. And then lean or hang back. That can be really cool also. Let's do it one more time. Just really shift back. Elongate it. Sometimes to get really long, you need to reach out to the side on the arm and then over. Good. Out to the side and then over. Both out to the side and then in. Hands on hips. Inhale, rise up to standing. Exhale, release, and just breathe for a moment. Okay. So we did standing up, stretching. We did forward, stretching. And now we're going to do full forward fold, stretching. So it comes like first we influence the spine, the side body a lot. And then lastly, we go into the hamstrings. Because they are so dense or thick or strong, it's really good that we have moved the spine and the shoulders first. Good. So step to the side, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, you can go wider than that. Exhale, bow forward. And place your forehead on the seat of the chair. I accidentally did something to the computer. Sorry about that. Good. So we already moved the spine, chest and shoulders. Now it's very much the back of the legs. And we are really gonna get in there, so buckle up. If you don't need the chair, you can take a step back. And just kind of really, the palms can come down or grab here. Just feel that into the back of the legs a lot. Your spine, your side body, your shoulders has already been moved, has already cleared the pathways of the energy. So it's a lot about the legs. Good, hands on hips. Inhale, rise up to standing. Okay, before we really get into the legs even deeper though, I just want you now to pause down lying on the back. And I'm going to show this for a moment, so before you lie down fully, take a look. I'm bending my right knee and I'm lifting my left leg. And I'm just putting my Achilles tendon on top. I'm relaxing a bit like this, I'm going to guide you. But then I press down a bit and I slide my Achilles tendon and my calf muscle across the top of the knee. And I just kind of explore a bit where I have soreness or tightness. Okay, so lie down on the back, bend the knees, lift and shake the left leg into the sky, and then place the left Achilles tendon on top of the knee, and let the leg be weighty. And letting the leg be heavy, even press down a bit, and then start to slide the leg. It's like a locust rubbing the legs against each other to create music. So slide the leg up. And just do that about a minute or so. As you slide across the top of the knee, if you encounter some interesting spots, that feels like bubble clasp or knots or just soreness, you can stay there for a moment and then do small strokes there. Or even just like weighty that down. Just keep doing that, eyes closed, breathing in the way that the breath causes movement, circulation, dissolving, releasing blockages, drying up the slime. And breathe. Very good. And exhale, lower the left foot to the ground. Just stay quiet for a moment, breathing. Just moments of feeling into the quality of your being right now. And then lift the right leg up. Place the right Achilles tendon on top. And just begin the slow work of unknotting or untangling or stroking or smoothing. I sometimes do this with an oil, so my leg can slip a little bit more. If I have fabric on fabric, it slips pretty well also. And just work the knots out. See if there's areas that if you pause there and cause acupressure, that it feels nice. And the dense, heavy, solid, cold and slimy and nourishing energy of Hatha that is being melted by the spring sun and then overflows into all systems. This energy really, we can move that out of the system. It's served its purpose. And the calf muscles are really connected. And these are all great stories, I know. But as all stories, they are probably more true than the truth. That's what I love about stories. So the calf muscles are connected to large intestines and lungs, so clear the mucuses through that. Good. And then release, shaking that leg. Good. And then roll to the side. And push up to seated. So Andrea has a question here about the etymology of the word namaste. There is a more elaborate translation, a kind of interpretation of the word namaste, often used in the West, something about the divine in me bows to the divine in you. And so I haven't really been able to find any of those translations from the root verb of nam. It means more to bend a material or to turn towards someone with a bow or an arrow or a spear or intention. Could be a musician turning also. To yield or give way. That's, stepping aside when an army rides into the village or through the city. I found it in circumstances where it means namati, it means something to be quiet or step back quietly, quarantine. and to subject oneself, to kind of allow someone else to rule you, or yeah, that's one meaning also, and then to bow. So I would say, it's probably a pretty Western interpretation. And remember that some of those interpretations are being reflected back to the yoga community in India now. So that it has taken on a meaning there also. But as I look through some of the texts, I haven't really been able to find that. More something like yielding, or I surrender to you, or bow to you, or even bend myself to you. So I would say more in the sense of I humble myself towards you. Yeah, I guess you could elaborate on that, and then making it mean something like, from the divine light inside of me, I bow to the divine light inside of you. If you want to know more about Sanskrit and Sanskrit words and etymology, which is my background in my bachelor in comparative grammatics and linguistics, drop me a note and I'll just do a session on that. We can take some of the main words. What I want you to do now for asana practice, Khan is asking, are there more words for bowing and bending? Or there's actually quite a lot. I think there were, for just that, I looked that up also, and I think that my Vedic Sanskrit word book gave me about 16 different words. So there's a lot of words for the act of bowing or bending. But the thing is that some of the words for bending is more, and to a certain degree namati has that meaning also. It's more about bending material. So like reeds or twigs, when you weave baskets or something. So, or you bend metal as you heat it and bend it. So I would say it's kind of, even the word nam, I would say 50-50. It definitely has the meaning of like bending material or bending us, our will, but it also has the meaning of bowing honorably to someone. So I want you to roll up the yoga mat. This is always an interesting pose. And I want you to roll it up pretty tightly. You're going to do a little bit more calf muscle massaging and you could place a blanket or a pillow on the ground. At home, if this is not really sitting like this, if this is too much for you, you need to find another way of applying some pressure into the calf muscle. I sometimes go like this. I put a foot over and I lean some weight back. If I can't bend my knee enough to lean weight down, then I'll have to apply a block or the pillow so that more easily I get weight down. Or else, what you do is you sit and you place the rolled up yoga mat across the bottom part of the cup. Oh, what a celebratory pose. And you breathe. And this is in a way that we can clear the dense, solid, nourishing, slightly cool or cold and slimy energy of kapha. Spring has already melted that energy from winter and made it circulate in your body. So some of the heaviness you might feel, or some of the sliminess you might feel, is not necessarily just from being quarantined or over munching or sitting down for long hours on a chair doing meetings in front of your computer. It might simply be that spring has moved the kapha energy out into the surface of your system and you need to clean it out. So this is a shout out to my friend in the US who asked me for some poses for a body that sits down a lot and feels dense and contracted and cohesive. Good. And then inhale, lift up. And then move it more onto the top part of the calves and sit down. If you can't do this, you'll still be at home doing one leg, pressing, doing the other leg, pressing. Understanding maybe not so much what the pose look like, I mean that's part of it, but also understanding why we do it and what's the purpose of the pose can help you invent or move into the pose in the way that causes the effect or the energy of the pose to awaken. Whew, I don't know how about you at home, but definitely feel a little some of that heavy, dense energy being moved. And then we gotta see if we can bring it all the way in to the depth of the calf muscles and sit back down. On live television, Soham moaning. Whoa. So I breathe with the intention of creating circulation and movement, dissolving, letting a light energy, a light drying energy move through the system. It's very natural that some of that heavy energy is now coming out into the system, and we need that to pass.